as a result of the handling of Jammu and Kashmir by the BJP regime, the Union of India, the idea of India has lost the trust of the people of Kashmir, including people like me.
The idea of India has lost the trust of Jammu and Kashmir.
That's true. Ignoring this mandate and the aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir would be disastrous, not only for Kashmir, but for the idea of India that we talk about in the rest of India as well as in Jammu and Kashmir. My suggestion to Mr. Omar Abdullah would be that he should not, I mean, it's too early to judge, but my suggestion to him would be that he should not distance himself from the aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and from the mandate that he got. He should not distance himself from that mandate.
Are people disappointed?
They are worried, not disappointed. They are not disappointed yet. They are worried.
Worried is stronger than disappointed.
I mean, they are worried that things might change. I mean, the way, as I said.
People are worried with Omar Abdullah's performance.
They are worried that the things may not go as per their expectations.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. After 6 years of rule by Delhi, an elected government was restored to the Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir in October. But that raises several key questions. What is the state of the relationship between the Omar Abdullah government and the Narendra Modi government in Delhi? Where does the issue of statehood stand? How do Kashmiris view the abrogation of Article 370? And has Omar Abdullah lived up to people's expectations, or are there possible differences between him and his father Farooq Abdullah? Those are some of the issues I shall raise today with the National Conference's Lok Sabha MP for Srinagar, Syed Ruhullah Mehdi. Mr. Mehdi, your party, the National Conference, won a sweeping mandate in the 2024 elections. Do you see this mandate differently from previous mandates? And what responsibilities and expectations does it entail for the new government?
It is different from any other mandate that the National Conference or any other party had in the past. This mandate comes after the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. This assembly is, constituted with this mandate through which the people took a democratic route once again and showed their faith in democracy, in the process of democracy, to express their dissent and disapproval of whatever decisions were taken on August 5, 2019. So this mandate is more than a normal result of an election. This is a political message. This is a political and democratic disapproval of the status that the people of Jammu and Kashmir have been degraded to as a result of the abrogation of Article 370. This is a dissent against the way the BJP regime has handled the state of Kashmir for the last 5-6 years. This is a mandate which shows its, I would, dare I say in your words, it shows its anger against the fact that the people have been turned into second-class citizens in Kashmir. So this mandate comes with a great political responsibility and a historic responsibility as to how to shape the future of Jammu and Kashmir, both politically and in terms of the status that it enjoys or would enjoy in future in the Union of India. So one has to be very careful. And since Mr. Omar Abdullah is leading this government, which has this mandate, he has to be very careful and very respectful towards this mandate. And at the same time, the Union of India, the government of India they ought to respect the mandate that the people of Jammu and Kashmir have given through this election.
But let me pick up on that last point you made. After such a mandate, can New Delhi continue to ignore the aspirations of the Kashmiri people? As you said, this mandate is not just a positive mandate for the National Conference, it's also a very decisive vote against what the BJP was doing from 2019 till 2024. So after this mandate, can New Delhi continue to ignore the aspirations of the Kashmiri people?
Ignoring this mandate and the aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir would be disastrous, not only for Kashmir, but for the idea of India that we talk about in the rest of India as well as in Jammu and Kashmir. See, as I said in the beginning, after all what happened in 2019, to the surprise of many in mainland India, the people of Jammu and Kashmir showed their calm, showed this, their wisdom, exercised their wisdom, and once again showed their faith in the process of democracy. Although after the abrogation of and the way and the manner in which the article was abrogated, it was completely undemocratic and unconstitutional. And the betrayal was there. The writing on the wall was there that the Union of India does not believe or practice the democracy in spirit. But the people of Jammu and Kashmir, after whatever happened, once again, showed their, faith in democracy and in the process of democracy, and took to the, democracy and expressed themselves through elections. So after their exercise of democratic process, their exercise of their rights and expressing themselves through democracy, if this mandate is not respected, then there's a message in that case for the people of Jammu and Kashmir that no matter how much you behave democratically, we won't give you the rightful place in the schemes of in this greater scheme of things, and you will not be heard, come what may. So that pushes the people of Jammu and Kashmir to the wall, to an area of hopelessness, and that creates a vacuum, and that vacuum would be very dangerous and unfortunate for us.
Now, it's no secret, Mr. Mehdi, that Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has made an enormous effort to stay on the right side of the Modi government. The question I want to ask is this: how would you judge the response that Omar Abdullah and the government in Kashmir have got from the Prime Minister and from the Home Minister? How do you judge their response?
Their responses, as I would expect it, I anticipated their response. I anticipated the behavior of or the response of BJP regime post the elections, that's assembly elections that we had, because the people of Jammu and Kashmir gave an overwhelmingly, their support was overwhelming in favor of National Conference and against BJP and against the decisions of BJP. So BJP would not take that, very well, and they would turn themselves again upon the people of Jammu and Kashmir and then start disenfranchising them and disrespecting this mandate that the people of Jammu and Kashmir had. So they would find ways to further disempower the people of Jammu and Kashmir in particular. So I anticipated this. The response that the BJP regime has given is disrespectful. They want to disempower. They want to turn a deaf ear towards the fact of Jammu and Kashmir and the aspirations of Jammu and Kashmir. So it's not it's not something that could not be anticipated. But my suggestion to Mr. Omar Abdullah would be that he should not. It's too early to judge, but my suggestion to him would be that he should not distance himself from the aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and from the mandate that he got. He should not distance himself from that mandate. In order to, expect the restoration of statehood from this regime.
Now, the first key question is about the restoration of statehood. Although the government assured the Supreme Court that statehood will be restored after the elections are completed, no date has been set, and no one knows when it's likely to happen. So let me ask you two questions. Do you have any sense of when statehood will be restored to Jammu and Kashmir? And secondly, how worrying is the uncertainty?
I would answer the latter part of the question first. The situation is very worrying. It's worse than it could be. Why I say worse than it could be, because the situation remains the same even after the people came out and expressed themselves electorally and expressed themselves democratically and showed their faith in the institution of democracy. They elected a government, and they expected through this mandate and this exercise to get back what they lost, and that the start of getting the beginning of that return of rights would be with the restoration of statehood, as the Union of India had promised, the Home Minister has promised, the Prime Minister has promised, and the government has promised in Supreme Court itself. And there's a direction from the Supreme Court as well, if I'm not wrong. So the people expected through this exercise, they would start seeing, getting their rights back. But as the BJP government and the regime is behaving, is turning this mandate, this political exercise into into a waste. Uh, the LG is running a parallel government. He's running a parallel wit. He's trying to discredit the elected government. He's trying to show by every next day that he's the actual boss. One day you see the chief minister, the elected chief minister, holds a meeting of the administration. The LG calls for the same meeting the next day. You have decisions by LG which undermines the mandate, which undermines the authority of the chief minister's office. You do not have a control over the law and order. You do not have the control over bureaucracy. And you can see that gap, between the aspirations of the people and actual functioning of the popular government, which is being hurdled by the decisions of LG and by the way the BJP government has been behaving. So I do not expect the statehood coming anytime soon.
Can I come up
BJP,
to that
yes,
point? Are you also suggesting in that answer that Omar Abdullah may be in office? He's been sworn in technically as chief minister, but he is clearly not in power.
that's how it looks like at the moment. It's been 2 months. The way that the union territory, as they would want to call it, has been the manner it has been organized is confusing. There's no clarity on the business rules. There's no clarity on subjects, what belongs to whom. The LG is, taking calls purposely on every other issue and on every other subject every day to undermine the authority of the local elected government.
Does this mean that the LG, the Lieutenant Governor, is a more important person than the Chief Minister, that he is a more powerful person, that as far as the administration is concerned, he's the more key and central person?
That's how the BJP has designed the schemes of things in Jammu and Kashmir at the moment. That's how the state functions at the moment. That's how the BJP pushes the things in Jammu and Kashmir.
So Omar Abdullah is overshadowed by the governor.
And at many times, I wouldn't say overshadowed. Yes, he's the popular government is overruled by the governor.
Overruled.
By the government.
Overruled is even worse than overshadowed.
It is. It is.
You're a member of the Lok Sabha. Why have you not attempted to raise this issue of statehood and the unfair balance between the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister on the floor of the House?
Because in my view, settling for the demand of return of statehood is a surrender. I'm not here for the demand of the restoration of statehood. I have got my mandate. That's me as an individual, and I expected my party to be, on the same lines, and I believe they are. When I contested the elections for parliamentary, for parliament, I went to the people with the promise that I will speak for the return of 370, and I'll struggle for the return of 370. Statehood is a part of that. I would not, come down from the actual demand, and which is the aspiration of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, which is the return of the rights that we lost on August 5, 2019. But having said that, if my party and others in Jammu and Kashmir want to struggle for the return of statehood and want to settle for on the restoration of statehood, I wouldn't mind joining them in the struggle for the return of statehood. But my fight is larger. It's for the dignity. It's for the return of the rights that we lost on August 5, 2019.
You're clearly saying that in your eyes, the restoration of Article 370 is more important than the restoration of statehood. You want statehood, but more than statehood, you want 370 to be restored. That is, however, not what your chief minister is saying.
He may not be saying that at the moment, but that's what the party has promised in its manifesto. We have promised that we will struggle for the return of Article 370. As a part of strategy, the Honorable Chief Minister might have, for the moment, been strategically silent on the return of 370. But trying and pushing for the return of statehood, because after all, he's running an administration. He needs to keep that thing also in mind.
In
But
other words, he's playing it strategically. He's downplaying the demand for the restoration of 370, and he's instead emphasizing the demand for restoration of statehood, because that would be politically the wiser thing to do given the relationship with the Modi government. Is that what you're saying?
I hope so. As I see the things, I hope so that it's that way. I hope that the demand for the restoration of 370 is not given up.
Tell me something. It's almost 6 years since the application of 370. The Modi government gives the impression that 370 is forgotten, it's done and dusted, the Kashmiri people have moved on. Do you disagree with that viewpoint?
I absolutely disagree with that viewpoint. With the mandate that I have and the votes that I got, uh, the amount of support that I got in the elections was purely for uh, for this purpose, that we will struggle for the return of 370. And you will have no society in the world, no nation in the world, which will settle for humiliation. And the abrogation of 370 uh, and the manner in which it was abrogated is conceived as a humiliation in Jammu and Kashmir. And people of Jammu and Kashmir are more committed to the return of 370 than ever before. And they are more aware to the fact that the 370 entails many rights for us than ever before. Therefore, the aspiration of the people of Jammu and Kashmir is not only the return of statehood, it is the return of the complete package of rights that we had on August 5, 2019. At the moment, we feel the status that we have degraded to is a humiliation, and we do not settle for a humiliation. People of
The
Jammu and
Modi
Kashmir are not.
government also gives the impression that the abrogation of 370 has strengthened the idea of India in Kashmir. Would you agree? Or would you
No,
completely disagree?
I completely disagree. If it has done anything, it has weakened the idea of India and Jammu and Kashmir. People like me who have, sacrificed. There are thousands of people who have sacrificed for the idea of India. Those who believed in the democracy. My father was killed by the militant. There are thousands of such examples. But we stood for the idea of India with conviction, that we believe that India is a functioning democracy. It believes in its principles. It gave us the rights. It gave us a status in which we found dignity for ourselves. So we could argue for that idea of India. Today, post 2019, I do not have that argument. I cannot, with conviction, go and discuss and argue with my fellow Kashmiris that this idea is the best idea that we could have ever, conceived. In this, your voice is heard, your dignity is, secure, your right to exist the way you exist is secure. That entire idea of collective India, that entire idea of India built on principles, is defeated post abrogation of Article 370. And to add to that, the way the India is behaving for the last 10 years, uh, in addition to the fact that whatever is happening with the people of Jammu and Kashmir, the way the minorities in India are being dealt with, uh, is one more reason why the idea of India has weakened in Jammu and Kashmir.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.
Let's at this point, Mr. Mehdi, talk a little about you. You are viewed as being close to Dr. Farooq Abdullah. But at the same time, you're also seen as a critic of the state government. After all, you joined the recent protest over reservations alongside parties like the PDP. So where exactly do you stand?
I joined the students. I didn't join any political party. I joined the students in their demand for the rationalization of reservation, and this is something that I have promised my people throughout the campaigning in assembly election as well as in the parliament election. In assembly elections, I knew that it's not me who's contesting the elections. I'm campaigning for the individuals, so I have to be very careful while I give promises. I gave the people the promise that the government which will be formed as a result of this vote, that if they would give to national conference, will be accountable to the people of Kashmir, and they will be transparent. That's what I want. The least we could do, when you are a UT, you are not a state, you do not have 370, you do not have powers. The least you could do, people do not expect you to do wonders in 2 months. People expect you to be transparent and connected to their aspirations. That's what I expect the government to do, and that's what I want to do at least. I mean, I can be accountable to the people, honest to the people, true to the people. The people of Jammu and Kashmir have a sense, whether it's true or it's a false sense. That's another debate. But the sense is that the political establishment has betrayed the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The least we
Hang on a
could
second.
do.
Are you saying Omar Abdullah has betrayed the people of Jammu and Kashmir?
No, I mean, there's a general sense that the politicians betray the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And it has been happening for decades. I mean, it's not about a particular individual. So the least we could do is to, I mean, do away with that sense of betrayal, give a sense of trust to the people of Kashmir. So I'm not a critique. While I was campaigning, I promised that if such and such thing will not be delivered upon by the government, I'll be on the side of the people. These individuals, these candidates who are now the MLAs, ministers, and at different positions, enjoyed and clapped
So
at
forgive
that
me, I'm
time.
interrupting again, but are you saying that if there is a divide or a difference between the people and the government, you, even though you're an MP of the ruling party, will be on the side of the people, not the side
That's
of the government?
that's for sure. That's my promise to the people. If there's a gap between the aspiration of the people and the government, I'll be on the side of the people. I'm here to represent people. I'm not here to represent anyone else other than the people of Jammu and Kashmir. So I'm always on the side of the people. And if there is a gap between the aspiration and the mandate of the people and the functioning of the government, I'll be on the side of the people. That's my responsibility. That's my job, and that's my promise.
In which case, let me ask you, how do you view Omar Abdullah's performance over the last 3 months as Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir? You said earlier in this interview that he mustn't distance himself from the people of Jammu and Kashmir. You said he mustn't distance himself from the mandate that he won in 2024. Has he lived up to your expectations, or are you disappointed?
Now, I wouldn't judge, I wouldn't comment on his performance. It's too early to say, but I would suggest that he should stay closer to the mandate, as I said earlier. He should stay close to the mandate, to the aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. He shouldn't be seen as someone who is Delhi's, representative who has replaced LG in Jammu and Kashmir. He should always be seen a representative of the people of Jammu and Kashmir,
Is
not
he in
someone.
danger of being seen as Delhi's representative?
He is in a danger of being seen such. If he does not understand that the people of Jammu and Kashmir do not expect wonders from him, they do not expect him to change their lives overnight. What they expect him is to be the most important thing that they expect from him is to be resilient, to express that anger, to express that dissatisfaction, to express that dissent, uh, uh, which resonates with the sentiments of people of Jammu and Kashmir. They expect him to, as I said in some other interview, and that was misquoted, there should be a rebellion, a democratic rebellion against the status that we have been pushed to. And that rebellion should be headed by the chief minister.
Ajay,
This
this is very
government,
interesting what you're saying. You're saying, and I'm quoting you, he needs to be resilient. He needs to express the dissent that the people of Jammu and Kashmir feel. A moment ago, you said he needs to be at the head of the rebellion that the
A
people
democratic
of
one.
Jammu and Kashmir are fighting. But he's not any of that. He's clearly not. He instead is making every effort possible to get on with the Modi government. He's not expressing dissent. He's trying to win them over. He's wooing them.
And that's not going well with the people in Kashmir. And that's how the way you expressed it, that's how the people feel in Kashmir. And I would suggest him, and as I said, it's too early to say. I would suggest him to, to
Are
be
people
on.
disappointed?
They're worried, not disappointed. They're not disappointed yet. They're worried. They
But
want him
worried is
to.
stronger than disappointed.
They're worried that things might change. The way, as I said.
People are worried with Omar Abdullah's performance.
They are worried that the things may not go as per their expectations.
Tell me, what is the state of the relationship between Farooq Abdullah and Chief Minister Omar Abdullah?
My understanding of both these individuals is that, with all due respect to Mr. Omar Abdullah, as I have known him and continue to know him, he's a good individual. Mr. Farooq Abdullah is, more Kashmiri nationalist than the other individual. That's the difference that I would want to underline here. That's not a disrespect to Mr. Omar Abdullah. That's a fact about an individual, that he's a more Kashmiri nationalist who feels more about, who resonates more with the Kashmir or a citizen from Jammu and Kashmir. He has, for the moment, I think, taken a back seat, and he lets things go the way Mr. Omar Abdullah wants to deal the situation with. But I understand that Mr. Farooq Abdullah, if it was not a UT, Mr. Farooq Abdullah was more suited for the job to lead this resilience. I'm not talking about the government. Mr. Farooq Abdullah was more suited to the job to lead this resilience and the democratic rebellion that I'm talking about. So he has in him to what it takes to resonate with the current situation of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
In other words, you're saying that Farooq Abdullah is closer to the people of Kashmir in terms of reflecting their aspirations, in terms of reflecting what you call their rebellion, than his son Omar Abdullah. Farooq Abdullah is closer to the people.
It's in his nature. It's how that individual is built. So you can see that in his nature.
Before the October results became clear, people talked about the possibility of an alliance between the National Conference and the BJP. Has that possibility now been completely eliminated?
That was eliminated even before the elections. That was not going to happen. And I would make it sure that it wouldn't happen. And thankfully, the mandate came, the way the mandate came, it shunned and all the possibilities or the chances of such things coming up. So there was not a possibility even before the election. There's no possibility of National Conference aligning with BJP after the election.
Before we end, let's talk a little about Rahul Gandhi. He's leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha. He's also, more importantly, your ally in Kashmir. How do you view his performance as leader of the opposition?
As a leader of opposition and as a politician in general, he could do better. And there are, many areas where he can perform better and get better. But as an individual, he's an amazing individual. That's where I have hopes with him. I met him in the parliament last time in his office chambers. I went for 5 minutes to discuss a thing with him. But that meeting of 5 minutes went along for 2 hours almost. And the discussions that I had with him, the deliberations, the talks that I had with him revealed to me how amazing as an individual he is and how emotionally he is connected to the idea of India. That was a positive for me. That was a great positive for me. I talked about the situation in Kashmir. I talked about the situation with minorities, the situation overall in India. Uh, the best thing that I could feel in him and that I could sense in him, he's a human with emotions. He's not a politician, a professional politician. He's not built that way. He's a human with emotions. He connects with facts. He connects with emotions. He connects with the sentiments of the people, of the diversity of the people of India. So that was a positive, and he understands the plurality. He understands the importance of diversity. He understands the, importance of the principles on which this nation was built. And as an individual, because our stories are, somewhat similar. His father was assassinated. My father was assassinated in the same manner. We had, talks on that. Also, he could connect with me emotionally, and I could see how this individual can connect with the people, connect with the individual, and has a broader idea of the nation and its principles and its diversity. So, as a politician, yes, there are areas where he could be better as a leader of opposition, as a leader of a grand old party, as a leader who is expected to be prime minister or seen to be possible prime minister in future. He can, perform better on many areas. But as an individual, I think he's such a great individual.
Finally, how do you, Mr. Mehdi, view Pakistan? And how do you view the Modi government's attitude to Pakistan?
Pakistan is a neighbor, and that's a fact which cannot be changed. So it's for us to decide what kind of relation do we want to have with the neighbors, and equally for them, Pakistan needs to realize what kind of relation they want to have with their neighbors. So we cannot change this fact that they are our neighbors. We have to live with this fact. So we need to find ways where we can have a permanent peace with the neighbors. And same goes true with Pakistan. We need to find ways to have permanent peace with Pakistan. Conflicts do not help. Conflicts and victories in battles and conflicts, diplomatic victories are temporary. Sometimes you are up, sometimes they are down, and sometimes they are up. The geopolitics does not behave. Perfectly in a permanent state of conflict. Conflict is no answer to a permanent peace. So the way BJP regime has been dealing with Pakistan, can be better. We can have peace, not the kind of relation that we have at the moment. Ignoring Pakistan, trying to look down upon Pakistan. After all, the things will change. After decades, after years, things will change.
Tell me this. In your eyes, is Pakistan the fundamental reason why militancy and terrorism continue in Jammu and Kashmir, or are domestic reasons as important?
Yes, Pakistan, gave birth to militancy in Jammu and Kashmir. There's no, denial of the fact. But there were domestic, factors that gave a posture for Pakistan to graze upon. That's also a fact. There were reasons. We made ways for that ideology to come into Kashmir. Had those domestic, mistakes not been made, Pakistan would not have a way to inflict militancy into Jammu and Kashmir.
So, which is more important? Pakistan as an influence factor that encourages militancy and terrorism, or domestic factors which have given Pakistan the opportunity to fish in troubled waters?
Win the confidence and trust of your people, no foreign power can inflict a damage upon you. Win the people of Jammu and Kashmir and turn them on your side by their heart, on the principles, by the conviction, earn their conviction. No foreign power can inflict.
Has the Modi government won the trust of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, or has it lost that trust?
As a result of the handling of Jammu and Kashmir by the BJP regime, the Union of India, the idea of India, has lost the trust of the people of Kashmir, including people like me.
The idea of India has lost the trust of Jammu and Kashmir.
That's true.
All right. On that note, which will make many people sit up and ask, do you really mean what you said? I thank you for having given me this interview, and I thank you in particular for having spoken so openly about your own Chief Minister, regardless of the fact that in being critical of him, you might not be making yourself popular with your own party. Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you, Mr. Thakur, for this interview, for giving me this opportunity. My critique is not a critique, it's being honest and transparent to my people.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Mehdi. Take care, stay safe.
You too. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.